All right, kiddos, before we begin, if you guys all look at me right here, I'm at the end of my desk over here. There is a tape area over here, and right behind it is a bowl, a ceramic bowl that's wildly dusty. But inside of it is washi tape. Has anybody never used washi tape before? Okay, so washi tape is one of my favorite things of like inventions since I've been alive. We did not have washi tape when I was a kid, okay? The thing that I love about washi tape, let me make sure everybody can see this. Does that look like it's in focus? Yeah? Okay. The thing that I love about washi tape is that it's re-stickable. Okay, so what that means is you can take it and you can apply it. And then as long as you don't touch it too much with your oily little fingers, you can take it off without leaving residue behind. But then you can also replace it and it sticks just as well. You can use it again and again and again, and it makes it very versatile. But it also makes it low stakes in that, have any of you ever used tape in art and then it accidentally ripped or shredded your paper up? Okay, it happens a lot. So washi tape is my favorite to use. Although I will say not all washi tape is created equally. It just isn't. MT is the original brand, I believe, in Japan. It's the Japanese. I order it, special order it from Japan for us. But you can also get good stuff. The 3M stuff is the way to go. Okay? So don't get the off-brand. Like, they have really cute ones at, like, Michael's and stuff. But they always end up peeling off. They don't have a good stick. It's kind of like, have you guys ever used off-brand Post-it notes and they just aren't the same? Okay? Okay, so when you get permission to be finished, you're going to get your light table out, and you're going to come back. You're going to bring me your draft. So before I turn this on, let's check out. Lo has let me use her image, and look how nice this is. Can you guys see it? Do we need to turn off one of the lights? Oh, no, would you hit one of the lights so you guys can see it? Thanks. Yeah, that's a bit better. Can you guys see it now? Okay. So I will say that there are some areas of emptiness, but she's going to be able to fill those areas up with her own creativity. Okay? Now, for the sake of this project, because I don't want to ruin hers, I am not going to use... Yeah, I can use it. It won't ruin hers. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take her original piece. I'm going to take my final paper. How many of you guys, when you look at your original one, you have a bend or a wrinkle in it somewhere? This one has a nice big bend in it. Okay? When you're doing this, you need to make sure that you don't have it off the table like this and then place your arm on it. I just bent yours again. Thank you. And that is going to make your final paper look awful. Some of you guys, the self-portraits and the hand puppets, the finger puppet drawings, the bugs, you guys did great. Nobody turned those in looking awful because they were so small. But I would say half of all of the drawings you guys just turned in. Remember, the very first lesson that we learned for how to draw was that your tools include the paper, and that's one of the tools you need to take care of. Okay? So make sure that you're conscious of the fact that your paper needs to be nice and flat and not smudged. So make sure your hands are clean. If you stinking ate Cheetos at lunch, you're killing me, go wash your hands. Okay? Also, oils. Like if you have oily skin, I would go wash your hands. If you put lotion on before this class, I would go wash your hands off. Because you're going to lay your hand on the paper, and that will leave a mark on there. You guys want to see what that looks like? I have some lotion here.
Yep.
I know, you're so thoughtful. This is clogged and from like 1970. Let's see, I have one here. For clay class. Alright, so if you have lotion, I mean, this is fresh. So let's give it a second. But the other thing is that the lotion will also mess up the tape. It'll get on the tape and make it less sticky. So you see how that can make, like, can you guys see the prints on there?
No.
Well, just trust me, you can see it. Can you see it?
No.
Whatever's there, trust my old lady eyes. My old lady eyes can see it, it's real, okay? Now what I would do is to make your life a little bit simpler, I would pull off about a middle finger's worth of tape, okay? If you've got wee bitty little fingers, maybe a little bit longer, and I would rip it in half. You have two pieces ready to go. I would just tack down one little corner on your board. What we're going to do is we're going to line these up, okay? Now what I like to do is I like to put both of them on the top. Okay? I put them horizontally. You need 2 different areas. Look, my oily fingers. It's not wanting to stick that well. Didn't I say? I said it would happen and it happened. So you want to make sure that these are perfectly lined up because it is what it is. Now, you guys, your drawing needs to be perfectly how you want it. A lot of times, have you guys ever made like a drawing, like a proof like this, like the design, and you're like, oh, I'll figure that part out later? This is later. We're about to trace it, and we're not tracing it with pencil. Adam, head up. I'm tracing it with stinking permanent pen. So this is not the time for you to figure stuff out. This is the time for you to figure stuff out. Does that make sense to everybody? Get it just how you want it. Okay, so now the nice news is that these are attached, and if I don't finish the drawing, I'm going to collect these from you guys. I'm not going to let you take these home. We're going to keep them nice and flat and in a nice professional drawer over there for artwork, okay? Just make sure that you're not like waving it around. It puts little crinkles and wrinkles. Don't be like, look at this, my best friend. You're going to be fine. Yours is already messed up. Okay? All right, this isn't her final. Calm down. All right. So now I'm going to, can you guys see it okay?
No.
Let's try turning off the next light. Let's see what happens.
Owen is getting a workout.
Okay. Can you see any of it?
Try turning the light.
You can, okay, turn one light on. I can't see what I'm doing. Yeah. Yeah, we can. So on here, what we have is we have different black pens. We also have, honestly, the Sharpie pen is like my favorite. It's like my favorite. It just is. Okay? But on here you can see what all the different pens look like. Now the one that is the smallest is the .05. As the number gets bigger, the tip gets bigger. Okay? If you use all of these, you're going to have a very dynamic drawing. If you only use one, you're going to have a little bit more boring drawing. Does that make sense to everybody? So I'm just going to show you like one in the middle. I'm going to show you a .4. And you can kind of guesstimate, and if it helps you, you can take like a little piece of paper and put like .4. And now you know that that's how big .4 is, okay? So I'm going to tack this down, and here's the deal, y'all. And this is not her final, so I'm going to mess it up a little bit. You have to realize that your wrist hinges in what shape? A circle. So when I'm actually drawing and I'm wanting to get big sweeping lines, I'm actually using my elbow and my shoulder. My wrist is solid straight, unless it's small little things. If it's like her eye and her pupil, my wrist can handle that. No problem. Okay, that's inside of the radius of my wrist. But if I need to do like the top of her head, which is a much longer line, I need to like angle it in a way that my body can work without like, see how if this is off the side, what am I going to accidentally do? Smash it. So make sure you're not smashable. But I would have your paper in a way, make sure that you're not dragging your hand across ink that has not dried yet. Okay? Because if you do that, I'll get on your hand and it'll smudge on your paper. Thankfully, that was enough time. I kind of wanted it to ruin, but whatever, it didn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be moving my shoulder and my elbow to be getting a nice swooping line. Okay? So my eye is following this shape as cleanly as I absolutely can. When I stop being able to see where my line is going, I stop, I reposition my paper, and then I continue that line. Now, this is what happens. How many of you guys can't see any of that.
Can you turn the light table down?
Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
You can turn the light table.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Hardly, no.
What if I turn this light on?
Makes it worse.
What if I... No, you can't see it. It is what it is, okay? Alright, what I do want you to see is that I don't want you guys... How many of you guys draw with a little healthy dose of fear? You can imagine drawing with a pen like this is going to freak you out. You gotta buck up, kids. It's happening. If you go in there and you're all like, oh, anxious, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And you start sketching... And all of your lines are really short and little, and it looks like everything you've drawn is furry. Everybody see that? That's no bueno, okay? So the only way to fix that, everything's fixable. You can have happy mistakes. I think that might be my biggest, I guess there's a 0.6, a 0.8. I could go back on top of that line. Well, let's do it with the brush pen. I'm going to show you all the brush pen. The brush pen is difficult for beginners. If you hold it up high, you can just let the tip touch. And that gives you the thinnest line possible. But the difficulty with a brush pen is that the harder you press, the thicker it gets. Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
So what I can do is if I go up and down while I'm doing this, I can go from thin to thick, and then back to thin. I mean, this isn't the best brush pen, but does that make sense? So if you make really jagged, really kind of awful line work, you're going to have to fix it with a thicker line. There's not much for it. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So once you get your proof approved by me, how do you turn this thing? There we go. Once you get your proof approved by me, you will get the light box, you'll get the cord that goes to your Chromebook, you'll get a set of pens. But I would say for most of you, what I would do is I'm just going to give you guys a Sharpie pen, and you'll use the Sharpie pen for all the lines. And then when you have all the lines, you can go back in and start adding in like texture lines and kind of like details, like whatever you want to add to it to add more dimension. Does that make sense to everybody? You can thicken lines, go over it a few times if you want. You can do tapered lines that go from thin to thick and like go from thin to thick or thick to thin. You can go over it. Any questions? How many of you guys feel 100% like you understand how to trace? Excellent. How many of you are feeling a little bit hesitant about going right in with permanent marker? That's okay. I want you to notice that if you accidentally make a mistake, you guys see how I just made an awful looking mistake? I just accidentally
Why
put.
would you do that? No.
Why would I do that?
I'm becoming a creepy-eyed shadow demon.
Why would I do that? There's not much you can. That's a pretty awful mistake. Okay, I will admit. But you're gonna have to figure out a way to make it look less awful. So that helped a little bit, a wee little bit. Okay.
That's when the worst.
But it looks less worse. Am I right?
That looks cool. Not like.
I think you have too many circles, dear. Unless one's a reflection. Is one a reflection?
One's a reflection. Yeah.
Okay. Because if you sneeze, you're about to lose an eye. Okay. Let's get to work, kids. Get your proofs out. Let's finish those drawings.
I'm so tired.
Wait, one thing I will say is that if you bring me your proof and it still looks sketchy, I'm going to have you go back. Did everybody notice how nice Lowe's line work was?
Yeah.
It's very clean, it's very neat, it's very precise. It is difficult to see through the paper. So if your line work is sketchy, you're going to get confused. Okay, now you guys, the proof, shh, quiet kids, the proof is for a grade. So when you come over here, I'm not gonna stamp it so it does, well, I'll stamp it somewhere where you don't have a drawing so it won't harm you. And I'll put your grading in the grade book.